Buying or selling a home is personal, and the person guiding you should be more than just a name.
This is Author Spotlight, where you meet the real estate pros who wrote the book and lived the story behind it. Real conversations, real values, real people. So when it's time to choose who'll help you move forward, you'll know exactly who's right for you.
Welcome to Author's Spotlight.
What a great way to start.
What a beautiful song. In the home that kindness built.
That's beautiful.
Your mother. And Jen, we're talking about Jenny's book, and this is her story. This is her story about the influence her mother and father had on her journey into real estate, her philosophy, and her superpowers. And it's a beautiful collection of insight and awareness that makes Jenny who she is today. And Jenny, welcome to Author Spotlight. And
Thank you.
tell me what happened as you were listening to that song, The Home That Kindness Built. And you think about your mom and the stories, the memories that you have of her and how she influenced you today. And what comes up first?
I feel like, you don't think about it when you're in it, but those little milestones of small kindnesses that she did, one of them I mentioned, the turning on my electric blanket while we were gone. So my bed was warm when we came home. She would, every Wednesday, we would eat soup. And then any money that we saved from that, we would give to those less fortunate than us, which really, I think, helps you as a child learn that you should always be thinking of others. You can put others' needs in front of you, which, she taught me that kindness, that it's really the secret to transforming lives. And I do that in real estate. It's not just about closing a deal, it's really about warming somebody's heart. And
Mm,
that's how, I make my clients feel truly cared for.
mm. That influence that she had on you in your early development, like just reflect back on that. And how does that show up today as a leader, as you lead your team, as you lead other agents in your team?
Well, I feel like she really helped me learn to listen, like truly listen to others and not just, care about myself. Like she always was thinking about other people, sometimes to the point where I thought she didn't care about me. She was thinking about everyone else. But in
Mm,
hindsight, it was really just being present with everybody.
yeah. And as you reflect on that, because you see that in your development, your early development, and to
Hmm.
really listen, to really care, to really be present. And those qualities, are what you bring to not only your clients, but your family and to your friends and to all
Yes.
across all those different spectrums there. Just in that context right there, how does that serve you as a real estate agent? How does that serve you and the people that are seeking your help?
I think it helps me lead them
Mm,
without, I guess I don't want to use the word leader. I want to guide them. I'm their guide. I'm helping them through the process. I'm an active listener and I'm listening to what's most important to them. And then I'm helping them probably even go deeper into what truly is important to them, not just those surface, I need a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. What's important about that? What's important about the home? Perfect scenarios, working through all of that. And I feel like my mom really helped me
mm.
learn how to do that by mirroring that activity to me.
Isn't it kind of cool to think back that that influence as you're growing up is now impacting you as an adult and helping you forge your way, making money, serving other people.
Yep.
Then in chapter two, it's all about your dad, Bill,
Yes.
and his sense of vulnerability. And Talk a little bit about his influence and how that has helped shape your way of being. And
Yep.
look at the green light when you talk.
Okay. Well, my dad, I feel like he really was able to show vulnerability and really let my mom kind of be that leader. So he taught me almost that safer side of showing your emotions, that it's okay to really help people understand their emotions, that vulnerability isn't a weakness, that I can, share that with my clients, whether it's, I feel their disappointments or I celebrate their joy. That really helps build trust and turn the whole process of house hunting into a home.
Yeah. So your dad gave your mom permission to lead. Is that what I'm
Yes.
saying? Yeah. And in a world where the patriarch and the matriarch,
Hmm.
where he lifted her up and brought her forward, did he serve as like the number two? Like his was he in support of her, like the
Absolutely.
man behind the woman?
Yes. And
Yeah.
eventually even came into, my mom was a realtor, so he even came into the real estate business in a supportive role, only always in a supportive role. But yet we knew, it was a partnership. He knew his strengths were in that supporting role, which
Hmm.
helped my mom be the leader that she is, and I believe the leader that I am.
Yeah. And so how does that shape you today in the way that you formed your company? Greenlight?
I feel like, I'm the leader I am because of my mom, but I also feel like I can show my emotions because of my dad. I can show my emotions to my clients. I can grieve with them when we need to grieve. I can celebrate with them when I need to celebrate. And that makes it all, okay,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of better terms.
Thinking back, can you remember an experience or a story about you watching your mom and dad in business, and watching them how they interacted?
Well, my mom is a very big personality. And so she kind of walks in and, demands the room of the attention of the room in a great way. And
Mm,
my dad, let her be in the spotlight, but yet you could still feel his energy
mm,
flowing to her, to supporting her. And I think, I obviously look for that in my own relationships with my husband, but I also feel like everybody needs that support.
mm,
And sometimes I feel like I've learned that I can be the person that needs to be in the spotlight, or I can be like my dad and be the supporter and be like, it's not about me, it's about me supporting you.
So in your business, you have the function of helping people buy, helping people
Mhm.
sell, and then you also are a team leader, and
I am.
you talk about that role of leader of a team and recruiting, hiring, training, encouraging, motivating, inspiring, and particularly in this market. How is their influence impacting you today?
Well, I think sometimes as a team lead, you just have to be that. You have to be a leader, but
Mm,
you also need to be able to step back and learn from the people that are on your team. My team, we've become very collaborative. We're, community over competition because I believe that there's enough business for all of us. So I feel like I learned from my parents that sometimes it is necessary for me to stand up and, lead the meeting or lead the conversation, where other times I need to sit back and be okay with learning from someone else, learning from someone who might not have been in the business as long as me, but might have some beautiful ideas. And I feel like that's the team that, we've built so that we all bring our unique abilities to the table.
mm. Yeah, just thought about magic wand.
Mm,
Talk
I
about
have one.
what is your magic wand? Super Wonder Woman.
Well, my magic wand is really helping people go deeper. So I always say, if you could wave a magic wand and
Mm,
have this process be perfect, what does that look like to you? So you know, when I ask that, they can really tell me what they think is a perfect scenario. So I'm hearing it from their perspective. And at that point, I can sometimes be like, wow, yep, that's real perfect. Or
mm,
okay, I know what their expectations are, and I now need to meet those expectations. I feel
mm.
like, that real magic in real estate happens when I listen, like really, really listen to them. When I've asked that, if you wave a magic wand, what does that look like? And then it's like suddenly their dreams come alive and I can help guide them to that place that they're going to truly love.
So if I had a magic wand and I could wave it over the outcome of this interview,
Mhm.
what would be the ultimate outcome?
I believe my perfect outcome would be that clients knew me better
Mm,
and realized that I'm not looking for business for money. I mean, yes, it is my career, but I'm also truly invested in their success. And on the same flip side, for bringing agents into my office and to my team, like I really truly care about them and I want them to be successful.
in knowing you better, like what's important about that? Like what's really important to you about others knowing you? And I like that word better, not differently, but better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people can feel like they know you from social media. I do a lot of videos. So they might think they know me, but I want them to really know me. Like, not the person that they might see on a video, but someone that can sit down, be that leader, really listen, but then also be like my dad and have that vulnerability to, grieve with them when we need to grieve, celebrate when we need to celebrate. Like, truly be the person that I want to be for them
Okay,
and
so
who I ultimately are.
I want to know you better. What was it like growing up with a mother who was strong, powerful woman, more of a, I don't want to say submissive, but a dad who was a little more played in the background, which are
Hmm.
reversal roles that you're as a little girl you're taught, every show was every TV show was dad was the boss and mom was the in the kitchen. And so you're growing up with a different model.
Yep.
And now, and so speak to like what that meant to a little girl seeing that role and how that shows up.
Well, I mean, to me, it meant that I could do anything. So
Mm,
my mom made it that I had, there's nothing that I couldn't do. Because I was born a female, that doesn't mean that I needed to be, the little woman that stayed at home. Not
mm.
that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not, I knew I was always meant to be more. I love being a mom. I love being a wife, but I also love being a businesswoman. I love to empower other women. So my mom is the foundation of really guiding me to becoming that person that wants to empower others.
I love that. So the mission empowering women.
Hmm.
When you encounter a woman who's not living into her fullest potential, you can see it. Is that true? Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you see when a person that you want to guide and lead and bring them into their fullness, and you can see they're underperforming or their potential isn't being tapped into. What do you notice?
I just think that they're playing small. Like
But
they want
but
to.
is it by choice? Is it by choice or did they not get what you got? What is it?
I think it can be a little bit of both. I
Okay.
think, that there were probably a foundation when they were younger that someone, a role model, a parent was, shrinking so that they didn't have to, that because they thought that was their role. But you can see it that they want, they want to be Wonder Woman. They want to hands on the hip and be out there and proud. And
Hmm.
it's, I mean, it's helping them get rid of some of those limiting beliefs that they don't have to play small.
So imagine an agent is watching this right now and she can relate to that and she can say, I want to step into my Wonder Woman and I need
Hmm.
mentorship. I need the guidance. I need somebody who's fully embodied that role. how do you work with that? What do you say to that person, or what is a plan that you have for them?
Well, it kind of goes back to the same question I might ask my buyer or seller. If you could wave a magic wand and this real estate business could be perfect, what does that look like to you? And, just it's perfect. A lot of times we're not told to think about something perfect because we've got well, I couldn't do that. So I push all that aside and I really want to know what's perfect about it. Those are then the set of ground rules that we're going to use to build their business. If you're telling me, hey, I need to, I need to leave my husband and I don't think that I can because I've never been the breadwinner, or I don't know, I've never had a job outside the home or any of that. Those are important things for me to work with, to
Mhm.
know, because I'm going to take their perfect world and we're going to make it the business as perfect as we can in order for them to reach their ultimate goals. So it's really
Wow.
asking those hard questions.
Yeah. And as you know, Wonder Woman, you have your lasso. Remember that? Is that
My
Wonder?
lasso, my lasso of truth.
Yeah,
Yes.
talk to me about the lasso of truth.
Well, when I loved that part of Wonder Woman where she put the lasso of truth around you and you couldn't lie. And
Mm.
when you ask somebody to tell you their truth, I do believe that you can truly see if they're lying or not.
Or
And
feel
sometimes
it in your
it's
body almost, you know?
right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes it's not even that they know they're lying. They've put what's important to them so far down that they don't even know what's important to them anymore.
yeah,
And so, when you can go in there and ask them, like, what matters to you? Tell me more about that. Why is it important that you have, 5 transactions this month? What's important about that? Tell me more. Like really uncovering what their needs are. And it's not just a business, it's not just money. For clients, it's not just a house, but it's really, where does their heart belong in all of it? Where is their truth in all of it?
yeah, yeah. And it transcends the transaction. That's why I hear like the transactions of the nuts and bolts are really important. The contract, the rules, all the I's have to be dotted, the T's have to be crossed. But that's transactional, and
Right.
a robot can almost do it today. You know,
Yes.
but the other part, what you're
Yes.
speaking to, is that, in my experience, is the thing that AI can't do. That connection with people. And how many people have you helped in your career over the
Oh, hundreds in buying and selling, but then also, hundreds of agents.
yeah, and every one of them has a different story.
Yes.
Yeah, speak to that whole range of things that occur, for people,
Well, I mean, I feel like a transaction is just that. It's a transaction. It's going to have a start and it's going to have a middle and an end. That's all important, but it's the relationship that happens in between the beginning and the end that I don't want to end. Like I want that relationship to go on. My intention for everything is that I have a repeat referral business. And I'm not going to do that without building a relationship. So I have to master the details in the transaction and I have to protect my client from any surprises because it's not just the transaction, it's the relationship that I want to continue on. Same as if it was another agent in my office. It's that whole relationship that I want to build on so that I'm their, you know, not only am I their leader, their mentor, their coach, but I'm their friend where they can come to back, going back to the vulnerability and the leader part,
I love that.
that
Leader,
they're safe with me.
mentor, coach.
Yeah.
Lead, mentor, and coach. And they're all
Yep.
different roles.
Yes.
All different ways that you approach that. How is putting your book together, and turning your business card into a book? And it's such a profound way of thinking. Like there's some people you want to give a business card to, and some people you want to share your book with. How has that impacted you?
I think it's a work in progress, and every time I give it out, it's something a little bit different. Some people are very impressed, like, oh my gosh, you wrote a book. And then other people are, they take it as, I can't wait to get to know you better, which is truly what the book is about. Because in real estate, just like you said, anybody can put a sign in the yard and show a house. I want them to truly know me. I love that the book goes back to, my foundation, my mom and my dad. The book talks about things that are truly important to me as a person, that empowering women, my project I see you, volunteering, like all it encompasses everything about me. So if my client's intention is to build a relationship and to have a trusted professional, or another agent's desire is to work with me, they're going to truly know who I am. And I
Hmm.
don't have to be a fit for everybody. And
Hmm.
that's fine. It's actually very liberating to say that. But you're going to find out if, more about me, and if you think I'm going to be a good fit to be someone that's going to be in your life for life.
Yeah, because how many agents are actually sharing their origin story, like how their mother influenced, mother, father influenced, and then even in chapter 3, it's your whole journey, how you got into the business.
Yes.
Talk about that journey, getting into the business.
Well, my mom, we grew up, my parents were missionaries, and then we came back to the States, and my mom got her real estate license. And my mom is, just like I said, a great leader, but she doesn't have a real sense of running a business.
Hmm.
So there were a lot of highs, oh, we've got money, and then there were a lot of lows. We don't have any money. And I said, as a, high school teenager, I'm like, I will never sell real estate. This is horrible. Because the highs were high, but the lows were so very low. I'm like, why would I ever want to do that? Um, I have really, really bad dyslexia. So school was really hard for me, but I very much wanted to be a teacher. I went to a tiny little bit of college, but it was just too hard. And I was like, you know what? I'll go get my license and I'll work with my mom. I got my license. I worked with my mom for just a short period of time as her assistant. And I'm a lot like my mom, so I don't play a really supportive role very well. I play the leader role better. So I left working with my mom, but in that time, and then also going and finding a coach like you learn what your skill sets are and how you need to supplement everything else. So I needed to find somebody that could help me, run a business. I'm good at attracting clients and I'm good at talking and doing all that, but I needed that support because I'm not really a supportive person to help me run my business. And
Hmm.
that, I think, was what my mom was missing.
I love it. You said a coach like you, and you're referring to
To
my
you.
and and
Yes.
and and, and to buy referral only, the culture that we've created, the concept that
Yes.
we've created. It's called buy referral only, and then you're taking that role, mentor, leader, coach, into knowing the value of somebody supporting you
Yes.
and giving you a framework to operate from, and then you taking that and passing that on to the agents that you work in. And I think it's fascinating that that journey that you took to get into real estate was started out as in resistance to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and now you've watched hundreds of agents come into your life throughout the course of your years. What do you say to an agent today or a person right now that would be the ideal candidate to be part of your team right now, their journey in?
I would say I'd want to know what their thought of a perfect real estate business is. And then I would set very real, clear expectations. And the perfect person is the one that's willing to do the work, because real estate is, I mean, it is a job, it's work. You need to time block, you need to prospect, you need to do, it's not just showing houses and going to the closing. There's a
Mm,
lot in there. So someone that's willing to do the work, put in the time, have experienced the highs, but and also experience the lows, but they don't have to be such huge mountains and huge valleys. It can
mm,
become, a little more stable. So
mm.
someone that's really willing to listen and take the coaching.
And what is your greatest strength?
I believe that my greatest strength is really listening,
Mhm.
asking those questions, and then listening to what they say, but then, delving a little bit deeper. I have, great memories of talking with you and by referral only about peeling back, the onion, the layers of the onion till you really get to what they're saying. I don't think everybody's a very good listener. I think they hear one thing and then they stop and they don't move on. It's, back to that magic one question. Tell me more about that. What's important about that to you? What I hear you saying is you need to have three transactions. Well, tell me, why do you need three transactions? Really understanding what is important to that person. And maybe they don't even truly know what's important until you keep going down and then, you know, listening and setting up a game plan for them.
Yeah. So it's beyond I just want to make money.
Absolutely.
I need to make some money. And there's some uncomfortableness inside those conversations.
Hmm.
Do you experience that?
I do.
Yeah. And so how do you sit in that discomfort and allow the other person to own their discomfort, to sit with it? You know that you're asking questions that most people would never take the risk of asking. So
I, I,
how do you work with that?
I feel like that kind of goes back to, my dad and being that he was able to show his vulnerability to us. He was
Mm,
able to, cry in front of us. He was able to let my mom, come across as the boss when again in that day and age when I was growing up, that was just like you said, not very common. It was
mm.
the male was the dominant leader. Well, in my family, that wasn't the case. So I feel like I can kind of let whoever I'm talking to know that, it is safe to have this moment, this to be upset, to be vulnerable, to tell me something that maybe they haven't told other people. And then to also know that it's safe. I'm not going to go, leave the office and go jabber and tell everybody else about it. It's not, you know,
Right.
I don't
It's,
like
you
the
know,
gossip.
if you're an agent and you're watching this, or if you're a potential home buyer or a potential home seller, it's really a gift that you give yourself, is to allow another person to help excavate deeper truth. Because
Yes.
our culture is pretty much news, whether in sports or drama connected to something that's happening out in the outer world there. But to be really heard and somebody asking really profound and insightful questions that open you up to new ways of seeing something that you've looked at. Like we've been thinking about buying a home, but you don't really know what the deeper motivation is underneath that. Or I want to get into real estate, but what's really the drive behind the
Right.
drive? It's a gift you give yourself to be in the presence of a leader that allows you to have access to that part of your drive and your
Yes.
determination. And I imagine over time that's you've witnessed, people become Wonder Women or Wonder Man.
I feel like I have.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing better than when someone, either starts a business or buys a home and they're like, I am a badass. That's when they've actually empowered themselves.
Hmm.
And to me, that just fills my soul tank up to the very top.
Your soul tank?
Yes.
Yeah, see, give me some context around what is soul tank?
you know, it's it's how my day starts. I can just sit and think about somebody that, had a perfect thought in their mind, and then they thought it was impossible, but we figured out how it could be perfect. They did the work and then they did it. And the moment that they realize that they did it, I always say the moment that they realize that they're a badass, that is what completely fills me up. And so
And
I guess a soul tank would be like a gas tank, but I believe we run off of what our soul actually provides us.
well, you are a badass.
Thank you.
You
So
know
are
that?
you. Thank you.
You're a badass, and I love that container of a badass with a soul tank. Because that's your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
Your mom was a badass and your dad had the soul tank.
Yep.
And you have embodied both of that, and you can mentor and model that for others. And that's the gift that you give a home buyer, you give a home seller who hasn't tapped into their own badass. It takes a
Yep.
badass to go after the dream, to go after the home that they really want, or go after the price that they really want to sell their home for, or whatever
Yes.
the goal or the ambition is.
It is, but it's knowing that because I asked. So it's going back to truly listening. So I really know like what do one do they think might not be possible? And by not asking it, what do you think's possible, but asking what would be perfect, then I actually know what they in their minds think might be impossible to do. And I know they can do it. I absolutely know they can do it.
Yeah.
And with, the right empowerment and the right coaching and the right, whether you're buying or selling or going to start your business, you just need somebody to encourage you and possibly show you the game plan, show you how we can do it.
Yeah, I love that. Show you a game plan, show you the path to do it. Because that's the mentoring, that's the guiding, that's
Yes.
leadership. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious when you reveal, like in your book, and you talk about your mom and your dad in the first two chapters, does it open up? Have you experienced people opening up a little more and sharing a little bit about their background? Is that
They do.
yeah.
I think, the longer I've done this and the more comfortable I've become with my own self and asking the questions,
Mm,
you can tell when somebody's like, I'm not ready to share, my background with you. And
mhm.
that's fine. Then it's not pressuring too much. It's not keep, peeling back that onion. It's more like, okay, and
Yeah.
then it's at that point it's also nice to know for me maybe this isn't the right client for me, or maybe this isn't the right agent to join my office, because I feel like you kind of need to be in tune with what you really want. And sometimes the only way for you to truly know what you really want is to share it with me or share it with somebody, to be able to really go deep so that we can, work on having that perfect scenario.
I had a mentor early in my career that would say to me, if you're with, like you're talking about, if you're with an agent and you're talking to them about what their perfect scenario is, and they can't really get past the surface stuff
Hmm.
and go deep, you have to make a choice. Do I want to invite that into my life because I know
Hmm.
the challenges that's going to create?
Hmm.
And there's certain level of resistance that I maybe at early in your career you're willing to take, but later in your career you're not
Yes.
because you just don't have space for it. And he used to say, when I make the decision to bring somebody into my life, I'm opening up the hood and I'm going to tinker with the carburetor. I'm going to work on the engine a bit, and because you have a responsibility to help people grow. And a leader
Yes.
is a person who, over time, the people around them become leaders. Yeah,
Yes.
they create that space for leadership to evolve. And I'm sure you've seen agents pace with you, and grow right next to you. Maybe even some of them outgrow you
Yes.
and go on and do their own thing. And your job isn't to hold them back. Your job is to create the space for that to happen.
Create the space for that to happen and to also be willing to learn from them. I am not by no means perfect. And I feel like every day I want to learn something. So if it can be from my team, wonderful. If it can be from my clients, fantastic. If I have to go look through it, through by referral only and through, my coaches, I will. But every day I want to learn something and make myself better, because I know that that will help someone else become better.
So what are you learning in this market right now? I mean, and I say this market, I've been in business for 40 years. How long you been a real estate?
29 years now.
We've seen a lot come and go. It's
Yes.
a little different than things in the past, a little bit different, but still it's this fluctuation. There's good times and there's highs and there's lows, and it's learning how to do that. Like what's your message to buyers, sellers, agents right now?
I feel like it's okay to say, I don't know the answer right now.
Mhm.
This is new, but I can go back on my previous experiences and know that even in, very, very bad markets, it got better. People are still always buying and selling. People still need a home. People still need a job. So we might have to just pivot what we do. And it might have to be that one day we do it this way, and the very next day we have to change
Mm,
and do it a different way. So
mm,
I would tell people to be flexible, to not, to still have a process and a system, but maybe look at some of their processes and their systems and tweak them a little bit.
hmm.
And maybe even go back to some of the fundamental things that we did before, all of the internet, before all of that,
Well, before
go
interest rates were 2% and it didn't require a lot of skill, you just had to show up.
exactly.
And now there's some resistance and yeah.
Yes.
So that what flexibility quality of a badass.
I think flexibility is quality of a badass, that
Yeah.
you're willing to, maybe say, okay, you know what, that might have been a good idea, and now I feel like I've changed my mind. Or a quality of a badass is also saying that didn't work, and I think we should do it this way. Like being honest and real.
Give me an example. Like so what's real?
I think real is, an example with a buyer or seller, especially sellers right now, saying, being true to yourself, that yes, this price of this home might have worked to sell it last month. And although I hate to say it, but I think we're probably looking at a $20,000 price difference than we were last month.
Hmm.
That is not pleasant to say, but it's real. And it's, if they don't want to use me because I was honest, that's okay.
Hmm.
It,
And
that takes.
now back up on that a bit. Is it okay? I mean, do you feel like is there
Well,
a part of you that says, "Ugh,"
yes, but
yeah,
there's also a part of me that has said, okay, I'll do it, and gone higher. So I wasn't true to myself
yeah.
and true to that. I knew what I was talking about. I let the emotion of wanting the transaction or to please the client more than I was going with my true self, to know that that price was too high. And
Hmm.
so then, although it might have felt good at the moment, I got the listing, yay, a month later, 2 weeks later, we're having the conversation, it's not selling. Well, then I wasn't true to myself. I wasn't a badass, because a badass would say, no, this is the price. And if that's not okay, then I would love to refer you to someone else.
So I love that thought. That a badass stands inside the uncomfortableness of
Yeah.
telling a deeper truth, particularly around money, because it's so charged with
Yeah.
worth, net worth, self-worth. It's like
Oh,
what my home is worth is who I'm worth. And
yes.
so much of people's, in my experience, you tell me if this is true or not for you, that so much of people's wealth is inside their equity.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you're fiddling around with the rice bowl. This is something that we're counting on.
Yes.
20 grand means something to them, and so you're taking a stand against something that's really important to them.
Yes, because the 20,000 right now, putting the property on the market for the too high of a price, could actually really ultimately cost them, possibly 40,000, because it sat on the market too long, and then it's price reduction after price reduction after price reduction. That that knowledge only happens because you've had the experience yourself, you felt the own pain, or you've had somebody that you truly have a relationship with as a mentor or a coach that can help you feel the pain enough that you won't let that happen to you or your clients.
Yeah, I love that. So there's price is a function, like we price it properly, and then you negotiate
Hmm.
you're in that process. Talk a little bit about what people can expect from you when you're in that negotiating, you're representing their money, like it's your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. What what can they expect from you?
I mean, because I took the time to listen, because I took the time to sit down and have that initial consultation with them, to truly hear what is most important to them, those are the skills that I'm going to use while I'm negotiating for them as if it were my own money. Because I know what's really important to them. I know why that extra $20,000 is important because I delve deep into what really mattered. So
Mm.
when I'm negotiating and somebody says they want to offer so much lower, I'm going to go back into my notes. I write everything down and I go back into my notes and I'm going to remember what was really important and why it was really important.
Yeah, I'm just imagining right now you're working with a buyer and you're making an offer and you know what there's really important to them. And they're saying to you, okay, Wonder Woman, go get it for us, and you're flying off with your lasso and your wand and you're representing their dreams, their aspirations. And same with agents. You're representing their dreams, their aspirations, their deepest truth. And with the sellers, the same thing. And
Yes.
you're embodying that role of Wonder Woman. Talk a little bit about the whole Wonder Woman mystique and where that comes from for you.
Well, I loved watching Wonder Woman when I was a little girl. I
Mm,
actually have the theme song on my phone, so I'll listen to it every now and then. But
mm,
before any meeting, any negotiation, anything that I do, I actually will do my Wonder Woman pose, my hands on my hips, my head held high,
mm,
and it's very empowering. I would recommend anybody doing it because
mhm.
it's going to remind me of the strength that I have and the strength that I'm going to use to empower my clients or my other agents to
Yeah.
ultimately conquer all of their real estate fears.
I love that thought. I could see you right now standing in the mirror right before a listing presentation
Yes.
and you have an affirmation or a incantation that you have that.
I just you guys are all gonna laugh, but that's all right because I'm empowered. But I do the little like I sing the Wonder Woman tune in my head, and I'm like, Wonder Woman, all the world is waiting for you. And I just sit there. And I
Yeah.
think, and then I do, I've probably looked at my notes before of whatever I'm getting ready to do, but I have my clients or my agents or my goals top of mind. And
Mm.
then when I go into my stance and that just it's like a grounding. My feet are on the ground, I'm standing up tall, and I know what I need to do. That just fills up all the strength, and I'm just ready to go negotiate, have a hard conversation, a great conversation, a celebration, whatever. I'm just ready for it.
Yeah, I love that so much. Because that physiology, like even when I'm just doing it now, just putting my hands on my hip right now, and
Uh-huh.
like that, and there's like this, come on, bring it on,
Right?
that,
You
yeah,
stand,
yeah,
everything is just taller. You're just stronger.
yeah. And everything starts from the inside and works its way out.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to think your way into this. You're going to experience your way fully
Yep.
into it. Yeah, yeah. So just in reflection right now, in this moment, in this time in history, what's lighting you up? What's really got
Hmm.
you excited?
What's really got me excited is that I believe that anything is possible if you have a plan and you have the right people to support you.
Mm,
So, one of my very favorite quotes is, what could you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And I think about that and I ask people that. And if they're like, I don't know, it's like, well, take the time to really think because so many times people put so many limiting beliefs on themselves and they don't need to. We only work with like a fraction of our minds of what we can actually do. And now that, some of my limiting beliefs have been around my learning disability, but now with AI, it's like opened this whole new level for me to be like anything that I thought I couldn't do. I'm like, I absolutely can with the assistance of AI. I didn't think I was a very good writer. Okay, well, I go into, my chat GPT and I put in my thoughts. They're my thoughts. And it
yeah,
comes out, you know, written far better than I could have done. And it empowers me. And it's
yeah,
like, I can do anything.
yeah. I love that. That you're the source. You didn't say, tell me. You said, here's my thought. Could you express it in a way that I can't find words right now, that I don't have
Yes.
that skill set, but you do? And then bam, it gives that gift.
Yes.
Yeah. I've
It's like doing the book. If I wouldn't have just immediately said yes, I want to do the book, I would have had all the limiting beliefs that I shouldn't do it. Why would anyone want to read about me? Blah, 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 blah. But
Mhm.
taking the time to do the book and have you asking me those questions, like looking at my mom, looking at my dad, all the things that built my foundation, by taking the time to do that and then ultimately sharing that with my clients, it's empowered me. It's made me better. Because
Yeah.
it's like everything that happened before this moment is important.
And
And
it
I
takes
wouldn't have known that without the book.
and it takes a lot of courage to elevate your narrative, your self narrative. Like this is a
Yes.
vision that you want to live into. This is me at my very best. Put it in print and hand it out. Now you gotta live it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's in chapter 4. I read about your ability to courageously handle challenges. Would you please do that for me now? Like
Right.
that type of thing. And if you're speaking to an agent right now who really has never even considered sharing their narrative, what would you say to them?
I would say that everybody has a story and that our stories are important enough for other people to hear.
Yeah.
And that by taking the time to really go into your story, and you asked a lot of thought-provoking questions that I might not have just asked myself, that I might not have thought were even that important in my real estate business. But
Mm,
by taking the time to do that, you'll become a better agent because you'll realize all of the unique things that you bring to your clients.
yeah.
And I think that can only happen by taking the time to write the book.
Yeah, and for our agents out there, it takes about 90 minutes of an in-depth interview with you. Then we're recording it all. We're taking the transcript, and then we've built algorithms that create a story that's really magnificent. And then we can turn around, package it, and get it back to you pretty quickly. So it's a process that we developed, and it's not for everybody because I hear what you're saying. Is like when people say, "I don't want people to know that much about me,"
Mhm.
then this book isn't for you. This is
Right.
not for a transactional agent, it's for a relationship based agent. And it takes courage. It takes courage to step into relationships because there's vulnerability. Your heart is open, and people have different traumas, different ways that they show up for other people, very similar to the way that people showed up for them in their life at one time, unless they've done the healing work. And you are fortunate enough to have a mother who built a platform on kindness
Hmm.
and a father of vulnerability. Now, we're not all blessed with those characters, you know, and
Yep.
but there's a lesson no matter what the story is. And I'm sure you've worked with agents and you've worked with buyers and sellers who don't have the beautiful background life that you have, but they've been able to do something with that.
Right. But I almost thought my story wasn't, is kind of, I'll say boring. Like what, it's just kind of, it was, but everybody has a story. And, you know, I am blessed with wonderful parents.
Mhm.
But I kind of discounted it like, well, yeah, they were great. They were married. So I think even if you don't want people to know about you, everyone should take the time to really think about what made them the person that they are today, even
Okay,
if they thought it was boring.
okay. So just as this is the lightning round, we're going to talk about some of the things, some of the key thoughts that your mom gave you. So fill in the blank. Sherry taught me, and just take it from the top. Sherry, what did she teach you?
She taught me to really be kind and to be a listener, and not just listen, but really listen and ask those thought provoking questions so
And
that
your
you can feel seen.
and your dad. What when you think of your dad, what did he show you? What's that just came up? There's something that just bubbled up in your throat right here. And I thought you
that
were
it
telling.
that it's okay to be supportive, but to let other people shine. Like it's okay to step back and let other people shine.
Yeah. So say the whole sentence. The real magic is, started from the beginning. The real magic is,
The real magic is knowing that other people can shine, and it doesn't lessen who you are. It just pushes them on, empowers them.
oh, I love that. Um, in chapter 4, you talk a lot about mastering the details.
Hmm.
Yeah, what's the philosophy behind that?
Well, I think that mastering the details, it's like the Colorado contract. The Colorado contract is 19 pages long. That's a big contract.
Hmm.
And to me, it's really when I master those details, I'm protecting my clients from any surprise. I don't think it's just paperwork. It's really building their confidence that, all of their dreams are going to be safe with me.
And and then you also talk about empowering women. Like there's a real um, something within you right here that has a real like a connection to women, like women
Yes.
growing into their greatness, really empowering them. And speak to that for a minute. That your role as the empowerer of women.
Well, I work with an organization called Project ICU. They help women buy and or start a business. It has aligned with a lot of, my goals. And when I can help a woman really, gain that badassery where they're like, yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
That is the moment that they've discovered their own power and that they can do anything, putting all of those limiting beliefs aside, especially that first time home buyer female or the female that's just recently got divorced and has never done anything on her own. It's just it lights me up. It just
Mm.
fills me up.
Onward.
Onward and upward, my mom's favorite.
Could you remember as a little girl? If you go back into a memory and you're seeing your mom, what do you see when she's holding that thought onward and upward?
it, you know, it, when I was little, I thought it was silly. And my sister and I would make fun of her always saying onward and upward, and we still do sometimes. But now I realize that it's really not dwelling on setbacks. It's
Oh,
not always going back to the setback. It's just like, let's find our next path forward. Let's find our next, that didn't work. Onward and upward. Let's go back to what you really wanted and start a new path.
so last three thoughts. Onward and upward. What would you say to a person who wants to buy a home in the context of onward and upward? First thought.
I'd want to know what was perfect to them.
Yeah.
Why is now the right time for you to buy a house? Tell me more about that. Just really asking those questions.
Yeah. And be really curious about that. I imagine like really help
Very curious and a good listener,
and really good.
really understanding.
And then so I know you'll do that with sellers, but what's another thought for a seller onward and upward? Because they're in a different position today.
Well, sometimes with sellers, I'd want to know for onward and upward, is now really the best time to sell? Like, why is now an important time to sell? And if they can't really give a real good answer, it might be that now isn't the best time to sell.
Well said. And then for an agent who wants to become a member of your team.
Onward and upward for them would be, I want to know why you really want to sell real estate, and I want to know the why behind the money. I always say you need to know what you need to make in order to continue to live the life you've grown accustomed to versus what you need to make versus what you want to make. Those are two very different things. So if I can get it to where you know what you need to make in order to keep living, we will work very hard towards what you want, what your dreams are.
Beautiful. Well said. So the book, how did they get a copy?
They can go, it's on Amazon, but if they'd like me to just deliver them a copy, I would love to do that. I'm on all social media platforms, and any of people that already know me, I would be happy to give them a copy.
I would really encourage all buyer sellers, whether you're ready to buy a home right now, go onward and upward, or sellers or agents, take, what I love about the book is it takes about 25 minutes to read, and you could read just the foreword, or you could just read the overview, or they can dive into any one of the chapters.
Yep.
Jen is a great mentor. She's a great guide. She's a great leader, and she's concisely put it all into about 38 pages for you. So get a copy of this, and onward and upward. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Always there for every soul with dreams to grow. She brings the light her parents sowed. This is the house her kindness built, brick by brick with love and will. A listening heart, a steady flame. She calls each client by their name. Not just a sale, not just a key, but safe belonging quietly. The journey home begins within, and Jenny walks beside again. In Sherry's world, the rules were few, just space to play in skies of blue. With music soft and eyes that see, she taught Jenny, let people be. In Africa's light, in Europe's breeze, she learned compassion without cease. Turned beds down warm, left doors unlocked. Love in action, not just talk. Then came Bill with heart laid bare, a father's love beyond compare. He cried, he laughed, he held her close, showed strength was more than just suppose. From horses' hooves to wonder words, he gave her wings and taught her verbs. To speak with truth, to lead with grace, to make the world a softer place. This is the house her kindness built, with steady hands and sharpened skill. Through contracts thick and trials long, she listens like a sacred song. She names each house, she grades with care, a fun, clear path through every scare. No cape, no crown, just boots and grace. A wonder woman in real estate. She asked what else, again, until the heart speaks out its pain, until the dream reveals its shape. A garden gate, a fireplace. She mentors not with pride or clout, but walks beside you in and out. The contract signed, the keys in hand. You feel her heart, you understand. This is the house her kindness built. No flashing lights, no ego guilt, just sacred trust and days well spent on paths of truth and deep intent. From Sherry's songs to Bill's warm smiles, she's walked in love the longest mile. So when you buy or sell or roam, Jenny's the one who brings you home. Onward and upward, still she goes, planting peace where kindness grows. A life of love, a story sung,